Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another session with Milo in Spain. My name is Alex Radford. I'm English solicitor and Spanish lawyer. I'm based in the Marbella office of Milo in Spain. And today I am going to be talking to Zoe from Olvera Properties. Hi, Zoe. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks, Alex. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. Just tell us, Zoe, what you do and where you're based.
So, my name's Zoe Males, and we're based in Olvera, which is kind of halfway between Seville and Malaga, inland Andalusia. And we sell the majority of the houses that we sell are second homes. So, reformed homes or homes that need reforming. We do also sell country properties, so fincas more than flats or farms and things like that. And yeah, our buyers are from all over the UK, from Europe, from, well, all over the world.
Excellent. And Zoe, how long have you been doing that for?
So we've been open, I think it's 21 years this
Wow.
year. Yeah, 21 years.
Well, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
today you contacted me a few days ago and said, what is Pedro Sanchez up to? What is he doing? And basically what we're going to talk about is the potential taxes that Pedro Sanchez announced that he would be introducing for non-European buyers of Spanish property. So he made this announcement on the 13th of January,
Yeah.
2025, and it's a package of measure he's introducing to kind of basically alleviate the pressure in the housing market, which he perceives, and which
Hmm.
some certain areas of Spain are suffering from a lack of access to sorry, excuse me, to property
Yeah.
by the locals, and also he wants to kind of basically kind of protect some of those houses for Spanish families and the local population, which is understandable. But
Uh-huh. Yeah.
he's from our perspective, he seems to be going about it the wrong way by targeting non-Europeans by saying that he's going to put 100% tax on the cost of buying a property, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, and I know you've had quite a few questions through from some of your clients. So,
Yeah.
let's fire away and let's have a discussion about that.
So first question is obviously that, most people are asking is it going to be passed? Has it been passed? What kind of process? And also, if it is passed, how long it will be before it comes into effect?
Okay, so Pedro Sanchez has got a very slim majority in the Spanish Parliament at the moment with
Yeah.
his kind of left wing coalition partners. And then he's got some Catalan conservatives in there as well. So it's a real kind of Frankenstein mix of a coalition. And for example, last week there were three laws that were put before the Parliament, and only one of them got approved. So
Okay.
there's no guarantee that this law will get approved. Okay, it's no guarantee that Pedro Sanchez will be the Prime Minister in a year's time either. But let's just say that he does get his way and he pushes this forward. He announced last year, 2024, on the 8th of April, that he would be getting rid of the golden visa. And that's taken a year for him to get to kind of progress and process through the parliament. And that's going to be going on the 3rd of April. So I think these measures that he wants to introduce will take some time. Again,
Yeah.
some of the measures he's introduced or suggesting are actually not bad measures. So, for example, if you're a landlord in your own property and you do up a house and then rent it out to locals, you're going to get tax breaks and benefits. But obviously,
Okay.
the one that interests us more is the one where non-Europeans will be taxed more. So I think if it does go ahead, it could take maybe up to a year, and
Hmm.
if not more, and that's if it gets introduced.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is the so obviously, you've mentioned there about the non-lucrative visa. Does it affect people who have applied for the different visa, the different visas that you can get in Spain, or do we just not know yet?
We don't yet. No, so the non-lucrative visa is here to stay.
Yeah.
It's the golden visa that they're getting rid of. Okay,
Right.
so the golden visa was where if you bought a property of 500,000 euros, you could get a visa and you could work here. The
Yeah.
non-lucrative visa, you apply for that visa from your home country but you can't work. So it's the
Yeah.
golden visa that's going on the 3rd of April 2025. Now, what he has said is, yes, this tax will be applied to non-residents. So the non-lucrative visa is a visa that is applied for from the client's home country. Okay. And what we would suggest is that they apply for that visa and then complete the purchase of the property once they become a resident. And
Yeah.
that would mean that they wouldn't have to pay extra taxes here. Okay. But we're talking about it's very speculative at the moment because he's just announced this, but there's no law to back it up. So as I said, the law could take 3-4 months to come to Parliament, and then they've got to discuss it. And there's a lot of politics involved here because it's a hot potato.
Yeah. Okay. Given there's obviously different tax that's payable on different properties in different areas in Spain. In Andalusia, with 7%, that was dropped down from 8%. It hasn't gone back up to 8%. In other areas, I know it's 10, 12, 15%. Would it be Spain wide, do you know, or would it be per province? Because I think there's incentives for rural areas where people are moving in and starting businesses and, populating. I know in Extremadura they're doing that. And for them to then have to pay 100% if they're buying a property there, it doesn't make sense that they're, or is it just in areas like Barcelona or Madrid where there isn't enough housing?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a great question, Zoe, because you're right. I mean, really, these taxes should be targeted. So there
Yeah.
are, we act for clients buying in Galicia, and if you buy in certain rural areas, then instead of paying the normal transfer tax, you pay a lower rate because you're buying in a rural area, and they want to attract
Encourage. Yeah.
and encourage people to live there. Now,
Yeah.
you know, so I mean, we haven't got any of that detail, but what is important to bear in mind here is that when you buy a second-hand property, you pay transfer tax. And you're right, in Andalusia, that's 7%. In Murcia, it's 8%. In the Valencian region, it's 10%. In the Canaries, it's 6.5%. In Mallorca, the Balearics, it's from 8 to 10%. Catalonia, it's 10% too. So that's for resale property. Worst case scenario, he's saying that that they're gonna it's gonna be 100% extra tax. So instead of saying paying 7% in Andalusia, it could be 14%.
Yeah.
Or Valencian region or Catalonia, it could go up to 20%. But this tax, the transfer tax, which you pay when you buy a second-hand property, is actually paid to the regional government, and
Yeah.
Pedro Sánchez doesn't control the regional governments. That's controlled by the parties in the regional areas. And for example, Andalusia, like you said, went from 8% down to 7%. That was changes that was introduced by a conservative government here, and we've been
Yeah.
socialist in the national government. So we've got lots of politics involved. And what we did have like 2 years ago is Pedro Sanchez introduced a new wealth tax, and what the Andalusian government did to kind of counteract that was reduce their tax here. So there's a lot more to kind of to be seen about
Yeah.
when the taxes will be introduced and what it will take. But as I said, the worst case scenario, transfer tax goes up, is doubled, or basically we might have transfer tax in Andalusia of 7% on the purchase of property and a new tax of 7% payable to the Spanish state.
Yeah, I think that's where the confusion's been, because obviously I've had clients saying, well, if I'm buying a property for 50,000, if I've then got to pay 100%, then if I got to pay another 50,000 in taxes, and I'm, like my brain just doesn't compute that because it just doesn't make sense. So the double taxation from 7% to 14% makes all the sense in the world. I understand that, but I think, I think that certainly the UK, social media and and all the sort of media there has just been pushing out that all the houses are going to be doubled, and and that's not the case. Otherwise why wouldn't they have put it back up to 8% or higher in other regions?
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, I've seen some seriously misleading headlines.
Yeah.
A house that costs 400,000 is now going to cost 800,000. That's not the case.
No.
That the price of the house is not going up. If anything, what will go up will be the transfer tax.
Transfer tax.
Now, also, we've got clients, I've got clients who are signing contracts to buy off-plan properties.
Yeah.
they typically will pay 30 to 70%, 30 to 40% up front, and they'll pay the balance at the end. Now, you know, when you buy an off-plan property, you pay EVA in Spain, which is VAT, at 10%.
Yeah.
That tax is payable to the Spanish state. Now, and I think, if someone's buying now, they will pay the 10%. If they, this time next year or towards the end of 2026, when they complete on those purchases, will that tax double? I would see that as seriously discriminatory. And actually, I
Yeah.
do see this tax as discriminatory. So, if two brothers are buying a property in Spain, one of them lives in the UK and one of them lives in Spain. One of them's going to pay, say, 7% tax in Andalusia for the second-hand property, but the other one's going to pay 14%. How can that be right? Right?
Yeah.
So, and I think Spain has been in this situation before. They charged more inheritance tax to non-Europeans,
Yeah.
and they got taken to the European Commission for that, and they were forced to change the rules. So I actually can't see this tax being introduced.
Well, that's kind of, what our feeling was. And I think as well, because it was just so, such a snippet of information that everybody's kind of added, it's like Chinese whispers, isn't it? Because we were kind of thinking, well, is it, 100% on the catastral value? Is it 100% on the purchase tax, on the transfer tax? The valor for the property, if, the catastral value, what is it going to be based on? And I think just because there's just been such a small snippet of information that's come out that, with something that he's put forward, that there's just been so much confusion.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, the noise is not good. What this has created is a lot of uncertainty. So
Yeah.
buyers are obviously, they are digesting what this means. And we don't know at the moment because we just haven't got any detail, which is
Yeah.
very, very disappointing. So he's not helping the real estate market at all.
No.
And British people visiting Spain contribute 1.2% of GDP when they come and spend money here. That's a
Yeah.
lot of money. And what Pedro Sánchez doesn't want to be doing is actually saying to foreigners, we don't want you to come here, because
Yeah.
Spain, and especially the coastal areas, seriously depend on tourism.
Yeah.
The Costa Blancas, the Costa del Sols of the world, they're international markets. They are, it's a kind of property bubble, very different to the rest of Spain. I'd apply that to the Canaries to some extent, the
Yeah.
Balearics, and maybe Barcelona. But when you go inland, how many foreigners do you actually see going inland? Not many, as you know.
Well, we've certainly said we were sat with some clients the other day, and they were saying, we've been here for 20 years and we've sold a lot of houses. We've sold houses more than once, more than twice. In one case, I've sold one house like 4 times in 20 years, or maybe even 5 times. And and if it wasn't for all that money that we've brought in to this community, then it probably would, you would still have the empty houses, because especially in the old part of town, the Spanish generally don't want them. Is what we have found recently is that the Spanish from Madrid, from Seville, from Malaga are buying second homes here to Airbnb, because they can't afford to buy in Seville, or they can't afford to buy in Malaga or Madrid. Or the 30, 40-year-olds that can't afford to buy there now in the cities are buying somewhere here and working from home, or commuting.
So Zoe, I saw some very interesting statistics the other day. In 2023, there was more than 630,000 sales and purchases of property in Spain.
Yeah.
Of that, 19% were to foreigners. And of that 19%, only 4%, about 27,000 properties, were to non-Europeans.
Yeah.
And I know the clients that we act for are buying properties to live in, to use,
Yeah.
for holiday rentals, for some of them for holiday rentals, but most of them for personal use.
Personal use. Yeah.
I'd say, every 2 out of 10 maybe buy it for say rentals, but combined with a lot of personal use in there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And interesting, so the golden visa was being withdrawn on the 3rd of April. that attracted multi-millionaires buying properties of 500k plus. Our experience is that those were properties of 3, 4, 5 million being
Yeah.
purchased. So that those are seriously wealthy people coming and buying those properties, which local Spaniards wouldn't be competing for.
No.
What was introduced 2 years ago is the digital nomad visa law, and Pedro Sanchez wants to attract mobile people who are earning good money, 50k plus, to come to Spain and to work here and to pay tax on their income. But those people will be competing with the local Spaniards when they look for rental properties in Madrid, Barcelona, Malaga,
Yeah.
etc. So it's kind of I just don't think he's getting it right at the moment. He's getting rid of the golden visa, which is like ultra high net worth individuals who come and spend a lot of money here.
Yeah.
Bring in digital nomad visas who will be competing with Spaniards for housing. So
Yeah. No, I know. A lot of it just, it doesn't, it just doesn't compute. It doesn't make sense, I mean, certainly we've had young local, and I mean, I say young, like 30, 40-year-old local Spanish people in the village who have said, I've got a little pot of money, or, me and my brother want to buy something to Airbnb. And that's, local people from a very small local village. This, it's not just the people from away, but we're getting more and more Spanish people that are wanting to buy here. I don't know if it's because we won the tourism award in 2021. So I don't know if, people are just going, oh, well, this is a really nice place, Castle Church, it looks really lovely. But we've definitely seen, a higher amount of local or not, sort of Spanish buyers buying here.
absolutely. So on those statistics I mentioned, 630,000 plus property purchases and sales,
Yeah.
126,000 to European to not to like Europeans and other nationalities. 500,000 are to people based in Spain. So
Yeah.
the market is pretty. The Spaniards are buying to rent and
It's
stuff.
buoyant. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. So what do you think this all means then for our Spanish buyers going forward? It's just a it's just a waiting game of finding out what's going to be put forward and,
Listen, it is. We've got to wait and see. But the people that we're acting for at the moment, I'd say, if you've decided to buy a property, buy it now.
yeah.
Don't hang around. Obviously, be mindful that a law might be introduced, and then if you are moving out to Spain, then become a resident first, then buy it.
Okay.
Once the law has been introduced. But there are other mechanisms. I'm pretty relaxed in that we've seen changes in law, and us as lawyers are quite inventive and creative. And that, for example, someone, in order to mitigate the tax, you could, for example, incorporate a company. Uh,
Yeah.
so you incorporate a Spanish company, and that company buys the property because it's a
Do
Spanish
you
company.
not need a Spanish resident to be on that seat? You don't need, okay, because you used to. That used to be the case that you needed a Spanish resident to be to get a company in Spain.
No, so you can incorporate a company.
Okay.
A foreigner can own that company, can be the shareholder, can be the director, and that
Yeah.
and that company can buy a property, it can do it up, and then it can rent it out. And the whoever owns that property via their company structure, if that's and it's not for everyone because there are
Yeah.
additional costs involved. And this would be a number crunching exercise. What's the cheapest
Yeah.
option of buying the property going forward? But a company option and structure is there, but the owners would have to pay the market rate of rent
Yeah.
to the company to use that property.
So there are quite a few options, aren't there? And and I think the main one for certainly for my clients that have been asking me, the last couple of weeks, the last week and a half, that the panic-stricken ones that have said, "Oh my God, is the house that I'm going to be buying now worth half the price?" Is that it's not, it's not on the purchase price, that it's going to be based on the purchase tax as opposed to the actual purchase price, which is, obviously a lot better. And that's again if it gets passed.
If it gets
Because we don't know at this point.
absolutely. Listen, there's a long road to be travelled yet.
Yes. Oh, good. That's good. Yeah, no, that sounds, I think that, that will definitely sort of help, the clients that have been certainly asking me anyway, the last week or so. And, I mean, I've had friends, home in the UK that are kind of phoning me going, oh my God, I've just, just heard about this. How's it going to affect you? Are you going to be okay? And I'm just going, whoa, okay, let's just talk to Alex and get some, get some concrete
Yeah.
information. But of course, everybody's in the dark because it's just something that he said, and he doesn't seem to have come forward and given a clarification to that either, which.
Exactly. There's no firm proposal upon which tax it will be levied on yet. So we're just going to wait and see. But listen, we'll be keeping our clients and anyone who signs up to our newsletter updated about this. We've
Yeah.
also got a kind of pretty active blog on our website, so people can sign up to our newsletter and to our alerts on our blog. And of course,
Perfect.
we'll have another call when this law progresses. Okay.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.